have a presentation from the Valley Water District, Santa Clara Valley Water District, so we are skipping over some things tonight so we can make sure we get a good information from the Water District and find out, try to understand what's going to be going on. So I'm going to call the meeting to order now. My name is Linda Locke. I'd like to welcome you here tonight. Happy New Year, by the way. And I want to thank Nancy and Alan for the cookies that I brought tonight. We also have coffee, hot chocolate if you want, so you can keep warm while we're listening. All right. Minutes, I think. Did you send the minutes out, Ty? Did you send the minutes out? No?
No, I went traveling with my family.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Was traveling. Okay. No. Okay. So, and treasurer's report, we're just going to do a quick report.
Good evening, everyone. I have your treasurer's report for the month of December. In the BCAC budget, we have we started with $1,955.88. We had $190 in membership dues. Then we had expenses of a robocall for $180, which should cover this whole 2024. And December meeting treats were $54.98. So we have a balance of $1,910.90. We have a City of San Jose District 4 grant that has a balance of $10,000. The Beautify San Jose Grant Cycle 5 has a balance of $2,038. And the Nada Noble Charter Funds has a balance of $7,456.96. So I'd like to remind anybody that has not paid their dues that I'll be gladly accepting dues for 2024. It is $10. You get a badge, you get cookies, hot chocolate, great speakers, and a lot of community. So thank you.
Okay. We're going to have our law enforcement give us reports tonight. So from the police department, Lieutenant Brett is here. Go ahead. I don't have to say his last name because it's too long.
Good evening and Happy New Year. My name is Lieutenant Brett Hatzenbuehler, San Jose Police Department. So I'm here on behalf of Captain Brandon Sanchez tonight. In preparing for your guys' meeting tonight, I always like to pull the stats in the area that I'm going to, just so you guys as the community can understand what's going on. And in going through a lot of the stuff, I pulled everything from like robberies, arsons, assaults, burglaries, car-related crimes, and all that stuff. Nothing is trending out of the ordinary, except the one is a little bit higher than others. Your vehicle thefts and your vehicle break-ins. So just so you know, please that's all right. It's coming back. Please sanitize your guys' vehicles. Make sure that you guys are taking any bags or backpacks, or if you guys have been shopping and you see the paper bags with the nice big handles on it, and you've been at the mall. Please take those out of your vehicle, even if they're empty, because thieves are opportunists. And they're just going to smash your window, take that bag or that backpack, there's no value in it. You might think there's nothing in there, but now you got a broken window. So please do that. Like in the last month, in this area, you guys have 52 motor vehicle thefts and 40 burglary thefts, or burglaries into the vehicles. So other than that, just please clean out your guys' cars. Yeah.
I see you use the microphone. We'll project this one soon.
Oh, yep. Okay, there you go.
Zoom folks can't hear you when you're out.
No problem. So just that last thing was just so I'll reiterate, just the vehicle thefts, and then leaving stuff inside your vehicle where the vehicles are getting broken into and they're taking bags or stuff like that out of the car. So make yourself less of a victim or a potential victim, if you will. So just do that. Relay that to your friends, your neighbors, family members, loved ones. I mean, that's just good practice. If you do have to leave something in your car, out of sight, right? Put it in the trunk, put it in an area nobody can see. As far as staffing levels goes and recruiting officers, we're still holding on, just like every other agency in the Bay Area and every other agency across this country right now. You know, we're still struggling with recruiting. So if you guys know of any good candidates, if you have any family members, friends, anybody you think that would do well in law enforcement, by all means, please go to our website and look online and have them apply, or even go on a ride along with us and see if it's maybe something for them. Our motors guys, I spoke to our motors officers, the guys that ride motorcycles. They're still working the Vision Zero and working on reducing fatalities, car crashes and that. There's currently only 12 guys, 12 officers that are currently enforcing it for the city of San Jose. However, Capitol Expressway is still a major corridor, so we are still working that area and enforcing it. And they've been very successful. Last year, they said they wrote, in 2023, they wrote 21,000 tickets. Which we can't quantify that as far as how many lives were saved, but we know a lot of people were saved as a result of people slowing down. So that unit did a great job. And then I think the last thing to touch on, I know you guys talked about it with me last time, was the flock camera systems. Those are still coming, those are en route. There's a lot of red tape, if you will, how to procure them and then actually, you know, implement them and get them up and running and going live. The current cameras we have now are a godsend. They work great. We're able to capture a lot of suspects and vehicles, and it's a great tool for us. So we're going to add over 300 over the city. I imagine that's going to take 1 to 2 years before probably all of that's up and implemented, but it is coming, and that's a great tool for all of us. So and other than that, that's about all I have to report from San Jose PD. If anybody has any particular questions, I'll take them.
Yeah, I understand. The private citizens communities that put the block cameras out, they go and stuff.
You can.
Is there a point of contact with the sheriff's or the police department to investigate that?
That's a great question. The question is that the community, an individual or a community association or even a neighborhood can purchase their own flock cameras, and that is true. You guys then own the system, and then you can give the rights to a police department, the BCHP, the sheriff's department, or San Jose PD, and then we can access your guys' system. That is correct. In fact, I know of a neighborhood in Morgan Hill that currently does that. I do not know the current way of handling that. There is the flock camera system, all the information on our website that can go through that. That may be a good question for Captain Sanchez. I still deal a little more with the streets, and he deals a little more with the administrative stuff, but I can pass that information on to him, and you know, we can make sure and get that over to you guys. Okay, so for people online, email District 4 office. David Cohen, email his office and we'll take care of that for you guys. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that one from like 3 or 4 months ago, the person that got stabbed. No, we have not. Our assaults unit is still working the case, but the good news is there has not been another one. So it appears to just be a one-off incident. Whether those two individuals had an altercation that led to that, some sort of beef, but there has not been anything, no new developments of that, and there hasn't been any more incidents either. But we still have officers actively patrolling. In fact, Sergeant Menard's out here. He's still aware of the incident. He still drives through periodically. You're welcome. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I appreciate your support. We are, in fact, a personal friend of mine, Lieutenant Mike Bowie, is in charge of the recruiting and backgrounds unit. I know they're working their butts off to reach out to the community as well as other outlets to try to recruit individuals. We're staying afloat. We're pretty much maintaining. We're not adding to, we're not really losing. So we're just kind of holding steady for right now. that's why I throw it out there. If anybody has any family members or friends, I think they do a job, please, us, any other local brother law enforcement agency, I mean, we'd be more than happy to take them on a ride along, and hopefully they could pass out business cards, and see if they want to come with us. Yes, ma'am.
Question. So there are some conversations running on next door, and I'm wondering if you have some advice or information that you give to people that are struggling with this issue. The first is RVs parked on the side of the road and garbage and trash around those RVs. That's one, and the second one is people start starting to live in this parking lot. And how do we make sure that it doesn't turn into something that's unmanageable? Just making sure that the people that are there are clean and safe and great, but it doesn't turn into something that becomes something that we can't manage anymore. Any advice on those two things?
That's a complicated question. COVID definitely changed a lot of the rules on that. Then in turn, the city changed a lot of their policies on what we can and can't enforce with the city of San Jose. A lot of individuals living in and outside their RVs, that's obviously their place of residence. So our hands as law enforcement agencies are tied at times. I know there is Beautify San Jose, who's coming out and helping out with all the cleanup and all the blight and all those sort of issues. I know there's a lot of outreach from all the different districts. If you actually reach out to your council member in your area, they actually will provide a list of resources for the individuals, whether it's a charity-based organization, a faith-based organization, somebody to help those people to get some sort of assistance to get them back off their feet and hopefully get them out of their situation that they want to get out of, maybe that RV or that situation. The other thing is you're gonna have to work with your council and work with these other cleanup groups throughout San Jose and also with us to get them to actually enforce the rules of the road. So it depends. Depending on where they park, I'm not gonna give you a definitive answer, but depending on where they park, we can enforce some stuff, other stuff we can't. And then I'm sure Council 4 has something more to. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, he's better at it than I am with that stuff. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, the sheriff's report, I think I can't read my own notes, but Lieutenant Dennis Owen, is that you, sir, coming up? Oh, good.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. As Linda said, my name is Dennis Owens. I'm the watch commander out here for our patrol division for headquarters. So I'm actually working in the streets out here on my days that I work. I apologize that there was nobody on for the last meeting on the Zoom. And I understand there were some questions that you guys had for us. But first I wanted to go through our current climate right now, what really is going on out on the street. Our staffing levels, just like everybody else, are diminishing. The county is slashing our budget, cutting our codes, so our positions are becoming fewer and fewer. I'll get more into that in a little bit, in a minute, about where our units are deployed. But as we currently sit, we on a given shift on any night, we have anywhere between 3 to 4 deputies working in the east side San Jose, 4 in our central area, and that pretty much encompasses our San Jose patrol division. So we'll have usually 6, on a good day 8, working out here. So I'm gonna tell you right now, our response times are gonna go up. This is part of the new staffing plan that has been directed to us through the cuts that we're having to take. We are not thrilled about it, but unfortunately it's something that we're gonna have to work with and work with the county on. But one of the questions I did notice that was asked last week is there was a hill car on Sierra Road. We haven't had that hill car for almost close to 2 years, I want to say. And it's not looking like it's going to happen again anytime soon. If there's brighter days ahead, we'll reestablish it. But right now, that's one of the positions that's cut. We just don't have the staffing to put people on the street right now. And we definitely don't have the staffing to put a lone deputy up in the hills. So unfortunately, that is one of those positions that has gone. But I will tell you that I pulled the stats for this area, the Sierra Road. We have deputies that are up there every day. They log a patrol check up there every day, during the day and during the evenings. And I have somebody that formerly worked that position that just started out here again today and plans on spending a lot of time up there. So we are there, and we do come when you guys call. So you're just not gonna see us as when we had somebody assigned there. But we are there, just to let you know that. We haven't had any real crime trends in the area. Traffic seems to be the biggest complaint that we have in that area. And since we don't conduct traffic, I'm gonna let my brothers over here in the Highway Patrol answer questions on that one. But a lot of the calls do get routed to us because they're cell phone callers and they come through our dispatch center. So depending on the severity of it, we do respond still, because then, the Highway Patrol, they're in the same boat we are, and plus they're coming off of a freeway. So we will always try and help them out because they always help us out. But I will get to some of the questions that were asked as far as that last meeting that I missed. This is actually my tour back out here. I've just started back out here, so you'll start seeing me regularly out here for these meetings now. But you had asked about the rural deputy. I just explained that one. You guys asked about a helicopter pilot. We are still in search of a helicopter pilot. We've had two that we got into a conditional with. They found out how expensive it was to live in the Bay Area and backed out. We actually just did a recruiting at some military bases, trying to recruit some folks that are coming out of the military, because that would be a great opportunity for them to get back in the air, and for us to have somebody flying our helicopter. That is a great resource that we miss, and it's I feel bad always having to rely on San Jose PD and the Highway Patrol for their helicopters. So that search is still on. So if you know any good pilots, have them apply, please. Are we working with the San Jose Police Department on flock cameras? I wish I could say yes, but it's a violation of our county surveillance policy. It's illegal for us to have flock cameras in the county for unincorporated county jurisdictions. So we will not be working with anyone in that anytime soon, or until that policy gets adjusted. And then you guys asked about one particular event that happened on December 27th. Up on Sierra Road. I can't really answer a whole lot of questions about that because we ended up turning the case over to the San Jose Police Department, but it was two girls that were forced into a vehicle down off of Lundy Road down here and taken up to Sierra Road, where they jumped out of the car and were asking for help. So that's how it went to both jurisdictions. I know San Jose Police Department was up there looking for them. We were looking for them. And then they ended up at somebody's speakerphone on their gate. And that's how we got in touch with them. And we were able to start the investigation for San Jose Police Department, who came and took it over. So I don't know the outcome of that one, but I know there was a lot of doors that were knocked on that, in that particular event. I know that. And unfortunately, we were dealing with a barricaded subject down here. So we had a lot of resources allocated down here. So that was a tough one, and we're glad that the San Jose Police Department was there to help us out and take care of that. Traffic laws, I'm going to, I think, defer back to the Highway Patrol for the new traffic laws for 2024. But as I found out yesterday, if you buy a new car, you will pay to have your VIN number engraved on your catalytic converter. It's a new law, $326 from Ford, just throwing that out there. It's a new law. I agree, but the dealership said before it could roll off their floor, they had to engrave it. It's a new law, and they charged $326 for that. Yes, and that's just one way of combating the catalytic converter theft. I mean, it's a real hard part to keep track of and to know who owns it. You cut it off, there's no serial numbers on it. You put your VIN number on it, we have a way of tracking it, and then we can call it stolen property when we catch somebody with it. And usually based upon the value of it, it's gonna be a felony and somebody will go to jail for it. So I don't see the bad part of the law except for the money, but that's our friend here in the front, it's a $20 tool. So you could do it yourself, but that's only brand new cars. But as far as the rest of the laws, I'll let the Highway Patrol get into that one. And any other questions you guys may have for me before I turn it over? $20 engraving tool at Joann Fabrics and engrave the VIN number of your vehicle, which is that little plate in the windshield, usually has 16 numbers and digits in it, and engrave that in the catalytic converter. That way, if it gets stolen, we have some way of tracking it. I've seen people engrave their driver's license number in it. So don't paint, because the heat's gonna just cause the paint to chip off. Some people have tried that. But the engraving is the best way to go on that. And literally, you can buy an engraving tool at Home Depot, a little Dremel tool for 20 bucks, and do it yourself. Thank you so much.
Okay, and the California Highway Patrol, Captain Oliver is here tonight.
Good evening. I had to quickly look up the new DMV laws of 2024. There aren't many that pertain to us that equal in enforcement, but it talks about driver's license renewal alternatives, talks about speed camera pilot programs, the crackdown on catalytic converter theft, honoring first responders through a program, verifying registration before removing a vehicle, people failing to attend traffic school will not be charged with misdemeanors. But for us out on the road, I would believe that the one that has the most impact for CHP is improving visibility at crosswalks and intersections. So it prohibits a person from parking a vehicle within 20 feet of the vehicle approach side of any marked or unmarked crosswalk, or within 15 feet of any crosswalk where a curb extension is present. Permits local government to allow parking for bicycles or motorized scooters within 20 feet of the crosswalk. So the reason why that's important is the number of injuries and fatalities that occur in California in or near marked or unmarked crosswalks. So I believe that there's the Vision Zero for the city of San Jose, and I don't know what the number of pedestrian fatalities is, but it is, it's too many. I believe it's above 50 per year. So anything that we can do to make laws, to make it more visible that, hey, there's somebody walking across this intersection. Ultimately, the accountability is on the driver, but if there's anything that we can do to enhance it, so that's California lawmakers doing their part in trying to make our communities safer. With that said, I thought what I would talk about is something that pertains to current conditions. So I don't know if you saw in the news, Thule fog in the Bakersfield area, Kern County area, resulted in 35 car pileup. 2 people died, many people injured, and this is the time of year that it happens. So last year we had a crazy amount of rain and snow and inclement weather. We haven't had too much of that, but we still need to make sure that we are driving safely. So driving in inclement weather, what's rule number 1? Rule number 1, slow down. But officer, the speed limit says 65. What's the answer to that? Go, here you go. You're going as fast as the present conditions. So very good. So slow down, whether it's fog, rain, snow, you're unfamiliar with the road, slow down. And you're gonna have a whole bunch of people that may be angry at you, but you know better. Has anybody driven on SR 17 lately? Okay, there's people riding on your tail, and we're out there as best as we can, but keep yourself safe. Keep your headlights on low beam during fog, rain, and snow. That high beam is just gonna illuminate the immediate snow, fog, and rain right in front of you, and it's not gonna be in your best interest. We recommend that you drive in the middle lanes because roads are engineered to pool on the extreme. So center divide or the right-hand shoulder, that's where the water is gonna pool and build up mostly. So if you're in those center lanes, that's a safer area for you to drive. Has anybody experienced hydroplaning? Okay, anybody experienced black ice? Okay, snow. So all these conditions have been present for us. Last year, the snow, I don't know if it hit on Sierra Road, but I know that we closed the road to get up to the top of Mount Hamilton. So driving conditions are very important. I speak about that because we just ended the year, the CHP San Jose ended the year. It is our goal to save lives, and we are on track. We are on track to have less lives lost on the road than ever. And then heading into December, and then a rash of separate fatal collisions. So our goal is to make sure that we are enforcing the law to save people's lives, educating, talking to people like yourselves, and working on engineering, but many different tragedies. One of them occurred here in this area. A 2-year-old was killed outside of the vehicle. So if you get into a crash, stay in your car. If you get into a crash and you can move off to a safe area, that's what we recommend. We've had too many fatalities where the people get out of their car and they want to potentially talk about, hey, you hit me, I hit you, let's exchange information, or I get it. It's a totally foreign thing when you get hit, either for the first time or the 100th time. It's like, oh, this is out of the ordinary, but freeway is not the place to, check things out. Even if you have a flat tire, you may destroy that rim, but just keep driving and get off the road safely. That's what we ask you to do. We've had many instances of drunk drivers crashing, and then our officers respond and put up the lights and try to assist, and they've gotten hit. So it is always safe, or it is always dangerous there out on the freeway, and we ask that you take this current weather season to a little bit more carefully. What else? They talked about current staffing. So for the CHP San Jose area, we're down again. We were peaking as we got towards summer, but now we're down again. And in the past couple months, we've been engaged with a lot of different venues. So did anybody hear about APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Commission, that occurred in San Francisco? So I was there, and we pulled 1,270 CHP officers from throughout the state to assist with a week-long event there in San Francisco that hosted dignitaries from 22 countries, including the President of the United States and Vice President. So that was a week-long event, and then we have been engaged with different safe operation in Oakland, the crisis in San Francisco with the Tenderloin. So we've been really sending our resources here, there, and everywhere, trying to cover everything. And I'm sure that we could probably do better in this community, but just know that we are doing our best, and I'm proud of the work that we've done. And I appreciate any feedback that you have or any questions. Yes?
You mentioned about the 2024 laws about pedestrians 20 feet away from pedestrian walkways.
The vehicle's 20 feet away from crosswalks, yeah.
So is there a plan also to paint all of those areas red so that people will know, because otherwise they may not be aware of the law?
So each city, each county, each municipality is going to do what's appropriate. So anytime these laws come into effect, sometimes it's, here's the law, and now the city's left on the hook. Oh, we don't have a budget for all that kind of paint. We don't have a budget for that signage. And so that's something that's going to have to be worked up. What they're doing specifically, I don't know. And I would say that a lot of the new laws, we don't go out there January 1st just roaring, getting ready to go out into those crosswalks and tow those vehicles. It's an educational process, and it's also a learning process for each county or city. CHP will probably be doing none of that. DMV, usually tries to do what they can with PSAs. Again, cities will have to work it into their budget if they're looking to really make awareness of this. And same thing with counties. Yes.
I just hope the new law will take care of this, like that. The capital area, so a lot of those kind of stay here. Nobody stays here. They keep parking right where the pedestrian line is. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I hope you mark that place either with red or whatever, because people don't even really stay here. They go all the way and park right there. Which is almost like getting into the pedestrian crosswalk. So I hope that takes care of that.
I don't want to kick the hornet's nest, but I think everybody's in agreement where it says no parking and people park there, like up in the hills. Yes, it continues to be an issue. Any other questions or comments? Looks like I'm getting the cane over here, so thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
If there's anything specific that you would like me to address next month, I sure would like you to reach out and I can see what we can do.
Know ahead of time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, we're ready for our Santa Clara Valley Water presentation about Advanced Purification Center. Dick, do you want to say anything first, or just let your staff? Yeah, why do I ask?
Good evening. Can you all hear me okay? Because I don't hear it well over here. But, let me get these on. But anyway, I'm Richard Santos, your director of the Santa Clara Valley Water District, and as you know, we're getting a little rain, but water is the number one topic. And before we get started, I do want to point out that what a good group you have here as far as your directors that you elect. Because as soon as I was asked to come over and make this presentation, but the Silicon Valley Advanced Water Purification Center. Linda called me up and wanted to make sure everything is just right. I really appreciate that. Ty calls up and says, what do you need? Do you need this? Do you need that? That's partners. That's really good. And then Susan gets on the phone and I listened to the recording and it's educational. So really thanks for setting the tone. Really appreciate that. In fact, I had about 4 meetings today, and one of them was Agriculture Committee, and one of the biggest issues is recycling water for South County because the food prices are going sky high and their cost of water is going sky high. So recycling is the way we can use, and we're trying to get that for drinking water. We'll hear about that because we know it's ready, but the permits and regulatory agencies, we got to wait. So let me kind of set the tone here to tell you what it's all about. This event will provide Valley Water staff the opportunity to share how we are investing water reuse to protect our water supply resources, address challenges that continue to impact water supply reliability, such as extreme droughts accelerated by climate change, aging infrastructure, and population growth. And where is Ron Appleby? I didn't have the microphone. I wanted to give him a blessing. Well, he always asks me for that. So I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're in better health. Anyway, for those who are unfamiliar with us, Valley Water is the largest water supply, environmental stewardship, and flood management special district in California. We just come out of a 3-year drought, and unfortunately, it's only a taste of what's to come. Climate change is a global reality. Droughts are predicted to be more extreme in the future. Our region needs more water for drinking to survive the prolonged droughts that are ahead, and that's fact. Scientific fact. One way to do this is by expanding our water sources and increasing recycled water and making water conservation a way of life. And most of you, a high rate, is doing a real good job. In just a moment, you'll hear a presentation about our water supply portfolio and why advanced purified water, recycled water, must be part of it. You'll also learn about the Silicon Valley Advanced Water Purification Center. the largest advanced water purification facility in Northern California, and why we need to expand our ability to produce more purified water. So today, I brought our experts. You pay for them and they're good. We just got through about a couple of months ago at Ruskin School, and kids came and we were able to educate. That's where you start, right? There you go, Superintendent. So come on up and introduce yourselves, because wherever I go, these folks make me look good. But it's your tax money and it's working. The previous administration in San Jose wasn't supporting this plant. Santa Clara, City of San Jose, and Valley Water. This new mayor and what we got this council, together we're working and they're on board. And this is good because our future is going to be secure. So come on up, folks.
Thank you so much, Director Santos. Appreciate you making the connection for us. Happy New Year, everyone. First of all, I would like to say my name is Brandon Adriano, Public Information Representative with Valley Water, a part of the Water Supply Outreach Team. Alongside me is Kirsten Struve, Assistant Officer. Among the many roles she plays at Valley Water, she and her team are a key component of bringing potable reuse to Santa Clara County. Also, my team lead, we have Keisha Bryan, also on the Water Supply Outreach Team. And we are super excited to be here to present about really the future of our water here in Santa Clara County. So before...
Come on over and say hi. Krishna, these folks are with me almost every day. They do a great job.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I'll be co-presenting with Brandon. In addition to purified water and recycling water, I work on water conservation, long-range water supply planning. So if you have any questions about those things, we can answer those later.
And as Brandon stated, I'm Lakeisha Bryant. I work with Brandon on the Water Supply Outreach Team. So you guys are going to learn a little bit more about what we do at the Purification Center, our tours, and our goals for really expanding recycled water for drinking. Thank you.
We also do tours all the time over there, and these folks are working 7/24 just about. If you're interested in having a tour, just let us know. We'll take you over there. You'll find out where your tax money is to secure your future. So with that, you guys are in charge.
Awesome. So before we get into project specifics, talking about purified water, we'll just kind of give an overview of Valley Water. So this is our three-part mission, and really our most important mission is providing clean and reliable water to the 2 million residents of Santa Clara County. Flood protection is also a part of our mission, so making sure that water is mitigated safely throughout our county is of the utmost importance. And last but not least, healthy creeks and ecosystems are a reflection of a healthy watershed. So making sure that those creek and ecosystems are healthy is really of the utmost importance as well. So this is really just a breakdown, a boundaries map. We're actually governed by an elected board of members made of 7 members. Thank you, Director Santos, for being here. So this kind of shows our representation and where our elected officials are represented throughout our county. And it takes a lot to provide water for our residents in Santa Clara County. That's why you can see by the numbers, there's a lot of infrastructure that goes along with this. But to get quick to it, on the top right-hand side, you'll see that there's only one advanced purification center, and that's going to be highlighting water reuse in our county as we look forward. Our infrastructure spans all the way up to the San Francisco Bay and then down to the San Luis Reservoir. And again, we provide water for 2 million residents, but we work alongside 13 local water providers, and they'll pipe directly to the households. So we are the wholesale water provider for Santa Clara County. And before we get into purified water and advanced water purification, it's important for us to paint the picture of where our water comes from. So this is what water looks like in an average year and what our portfolio is, but really to highlight the fact that we're heavily reliant on imported water. As you can see, 50% of our water comes from imported water sources, and that would be from the Sierra Snowpack. If we break that number down, about 40% comes from our state water project, and then 10% comes from Hetch Hetchy. And then you can see from our local water supply only making up about 30%, so that's our local water. Water that we save in our county makes up about 15%, and then water reuse makes up only about 5%. So water reuse right now is used as recycled water, non-potable uses. Beneficiaries of that is like agriculture, industrial use, cooling towers. And with our water reuse, our master plan, and with the Purified Water Project, we're really hoping to advance this percentage in the next several years. And I think this is really important to see water usage and its breakdown, and you could see that there's a lot of usage of water outdoors, and that's why it's really important to make sure that we're using water-wise landscaping, but we can also see the breakdown of indoor residential use and see the ways that we're using it in our own home. And although we have a diverse portfolio, there are still risks to our water supply that do concern us. Weather variability really ties into things like climate change and reduced imported water, which is why an additional source is super important. And then also aging infrastructure. Most of our infrastructure here in Santa Clara County was made in the 30s and the 50s, but really that's what it looks like throughout all of California. So making sure our infrastructure is up to date and efficient is really important. And so that brings us to the Silicon Valley Advanced Water Purification Center and our Purified Water Project. And this facility is a really fascinating nexus because it has different elements that's really important to us as community members. A few facts: this opened up in early 2014, but currently this provides purified water to enhance the quality of water for our recycled water system or our purple pipe system. So this gives more consistent flows for maybe some salt-sensitive species, industrial use and agricultural use. Removing some of those salts is very helpful for our non-potable water sources. But this also serves as a demonstration and research facility. Really, the end goal is to make water that we've once used drinkable, because we know that water is too valuable to use just once. So our project team is currently working on the cleaning in the facility, making sure that when we do bring this onto a bigger scale, everything is effective and as safe as possible. And last but not least, having an educational component to our facility is really important, allowing our residents to understand what purified water is, not just creating awareness, but educating the public of our need for it and what purification is really important. And so with the purification process, this is a very high-level breakdown, and Director Santos did invite you over for a tour. We do have public tours and private tours where we actually bring residents in through our facility. But a quick breakdown of the purification process to highlight is microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and UV disinfection is the cutting-edge processes that take place at the Purification Center. Microfiltration is a membrane filtration technology where it's really prepping everything for reverse osmosis. Here, we're removing a lot of the larger viruses, protozoas, and bacterias, and really breaking down some of the solids that you wouldn't want. Now, reverse osmosis is a highly touted filtration system used by some of the smartest people in the entire world, our astronauts. The space stations or our spaceships aren't really connected with hoses. They have to reuse water that they use up in space. So they're highly dependent on technology very similar to reverse osmosis. So this is the workhorse of our facility, and it's removing dissolved minerals, pharmaceuticals, pesticides, really the buzzwords like PFAS and microplastics. This is a really great component to address those challenges while cleaning our water. With purified water and portable reuse, we often really relate it to 3 R words. It's redundancy, resiliency, and robustness. And redundancy is definitely something that we push forward with the purification process. We used UV disinfection or ultraviolet light disinfection to really remove any of the remaining pathogens that would go through really close to this 20-hour process of cleaning. But if we were to make this water potable, there would be even additional layers of cleaning. So the purification process is cutting-edge technology, but this is not new technology. As you can see, there's several projects popping out throughout California. In Northern California, of course, we're looking forward to move with the purification process, but Monterey is actually adding this water to their groundwater supply currently. It's really large in Southern California as they're heavily reliant with the Colorado River, and they're actually home to the largest purification center in the entire world, producing close to 130 million gallons of purified water in a day. So they're adding that water to their groundwater, and it's a part of their drinking water supply already. And the other few quick highlights: Singapore is world-renowned in purifying wastewater, as well as NASA, as mentioned. And so as we bring attendees and our general public through our tour, our goals is really to educate, be transparent, raise awareness of purified water and the need for an additional portion of our water supply, and to build public support for portable reuse. And some key messages that we hope to take away as attendees go through our tour is water is just too valuable to use just once. Potable reuse is safe, reliable, and sustainable. This is beyond the standard of cleaning than drinking water, and purified water provides a drought-resilient water supply in the face of a changing climate. I will say Keisha and I are doing our best job to make sure that our outreach is equitable and reaches out really as many residents as possible. We're in our community doing tabling events, bringing in key proponents to our project, key stakeholders, and making sure that our collateral material is in several languages so that people could understand and read through the information that we're providing. And then last but not least, stakeholder endorsements, really signing on key organizations and leaders to support the project. This is actually a special issue with the SECMA, our medical association here in Santa Clara County. They actually wrote a special issue on potable reuse and their support of it in our county. So now I'm going to pass it off to Kirsten to talk about some of the project specifics and our master plan.
Thank you, Brandon. So just orienting everyone a little bit, when we say water reuse, we mean we're taking already clean wastewater, so things that have been used inside your homes and businesses, they go through a wastewater treatment plant. That one is not ours, so the different cities, there's 4 wastewater treatment plants in our county, have wastewater treatment plants, and then we take that clean water to reuse it. And ways to reuse it are, the purple side there is just use it the way it is. That's just non-potable reuse. And then the enhanced non-potable reuse is what Brandon described. Basically, our facility cleans a portion of the water to make the quality very consistent and cleaner than it would be without us doing the purification, so that it can be used for different purposes, like landscapes and cooling towers. Potable reuse means you're going to drink it eventually. Indirect potable reuse means there's an environmental buffer, they call it. So we might replenish the groundwater like Brandon was describing, or put it in a really large reservoir. And direct potable reuse, those regulations were just approved by our regulators, the State Water Board. That would allow using the water either ahead of a water treatment plant, of which we have 3, or directly to customers. And next slide. So we are working on an indirect potable reuse project in collaboration with the cities of Palo Alto and Mountain View, where we would construct another purification center like the one that you've been invited to tour, and a 20-mile pipeline to Los Gatos recharge system where we would replenish groundwater with it. And we're still working through agreements with the city of Palo Alto to make this project a reality. And next slide. And we also recently, just in November, got direction from the City of San Jose Council and our board to pursue a direct potable reuse project with the City of San Jose, right next door to our purification center. As Brandon described, our purification center has 3 main treatment processes. To do direct potable reuse, we would need 2 more ahead and 1 more after what we have. So much more robust treatment process. And that's something we're gonna start developing along with City of San Jose and Santa Clara staff. And with that, I'll turn it back to Brandon.
Thank you, Kirsten. It's exciting to see the way that Valley Water is addressing those challenges that we were talking about, especially with the Purified Water Project. But definitely, being a part of External Affairs, wanted to share some of our additional resources. There's a lot that goes into understanding the purification process. It also takes knowledge of our water supply. So there's other educational resources that we do offer to our residents. We have our education outreach team that actually goes into classrooms or youth programs and teaches about environmental stewardship, our water supply, and our watersheds. We also have our young leaders who are a part of our youth commission. And then we also have our Water 101 Academy, where we specifically talk about really the insights of our infrastructure and what we're doing to move forward. We also have volunteer programs such as Adopt a Creek. We also support environmental stewardship projects with our grants programs. We can definitely send this information over after as well. And last but not least, the purification process, it's not an end-all be-all. It's important for us to have a diverse portfolio for our water supply. So conserving water is very important, and we do have ways for us to take part in conservation with our free offerings of our WaterWise outdoor surveys. You can actually get WaterWise tools to help you be more water efficient in your households. Again, we can definitely send over this information, but highlighting that conservation is still a key proponent for Valley Water. And here it is. This is the official offer to sign up for a public tour. If you wanted to scan this QR code, this will bring you right to our general public tours. We host them every first Friday of the month and every second Saturday of the month, but we also host private tours, whether it's an organization or a club. Just has to be a 10-person or 10 group or above, and we would be happy to bring you through our facility and share you really what is happening at the Purification Center. Yeah, so for our general public tours, they occur every first Friday of the month and then every second Saturday of the month. If it's a holiday, we might shift the dates, but typically every first Friday, every second Saturday. We do have a phone number. I can share that with you right after. And then, yeah, absolutely. You can also visit our website to purewaterforyou.org as well. With that, I think we can open up for any questions as well.
Make sure that I understand it. So the water that you use in the toilet, when you go to the toilet,
Yeah.
that is called wastewater, right? And that water now is going to eventually, through all this process, drinking water? Is that new? Or that is it like that? I want to make sure I understand because there's a lot of terms and I want to try to understand what we're talking about.
Absolutely. So that's water that we use for daily use in our household, including water that we use to flush, to shower, to wash our hands, to do the laundry. That's all a part of purified water. And taking that water, putting it through close to a 20-hour process would make that potable with several additional steps.
Can I add something?
That's not happening before it's happening now. Something that's new.
It's not happening in this county now, but what is happening is that wastewater gets treated to almost 98% clean. So really purification is dealing with that last 2%. And it is happening in Orange County already. So if you've been to Disneyland, you know, it's been part of the water supply down there. And yeah, so it isn't happening in our county right now. Yeah, we're trying to, you know, it's not a comfortable thought if you don't understand how much technology and how much cleaning goes on, because, you know, yeah, there have been, you know, these very unfortunate, you know, media titles of toilet to tap, but those are really inaccurate. You know, the toilet and the tap are very far apart. There's a lot of treatment in between.
The way they study COVID rates is by studying wastewater. So that's the way they're measuring, you know, no one's testing anymore for COVID. So for me to sit here and listen and say, you're going to drink that water, I mean, just for me, it's just low. So I don't know what your plans are to change the public's perception of this. No matter how good the technology is, my brain is still refusing to believe the pathogens, the viruses are going to be killed. I'm going to be okay drinking water.
Definitely, we understand that, and that's why we have a lot of outreach, but usually seeing is believing, and that's what Orange County did as well. If you see the technology in action, that reverse osmosis is basically a filter so small that only water molecules can pass through. And the measurement of COVID is actually in the water that goes into the wastewater treatment plant. So, you know, that already cleans that up. Yeah, but we do understand what you're saying is exactly correct. It is a big lift for public perception. Then on the other hand, though, you think about the drought we just came out of and the worry that there might not be water for our homes and businesses. And then this technology has been successfully used all over the world and at the space station. And, you know, it's something that we need to get comfortable with because there will be more droughts.
importing right now, right?
That's correct.
So then, is that the only liquid, Santa Clara County that's doing something that we need to make? Is not how it is for other counties?
No, it is. A lot of water is imported all over California into different counties. But you know, as right now, I don't know if you saw in the newspaper, we're experiencing what is called a snow drought. It's raining, but it's not snowing. And the snow is a really important storage for our water to be using it in the summer. If it all runs off as rain, we don't have enough places to put it, and then we will have challenges in the summer. So with climate change, things are changing. We may not have snow to store things in. That means we don't have enough reservoirs right now to store the water that we would need for the summer. And we need to look at new and locally controlled drought-proof supplies to be able to, you know, continue to live here.
First, I want to acknowledge your stewardship. Well done, what you're trying to do. I'm going to climb the plank to 35,000 acres of frustration. This state hasn't produced any water storage of significance for decades, and they've known this is coming. But no, we don't want to do that. And they pour massive amounts of fresh water down the Sacramento River for the benefit of snow. That precious water. And you're working with a margin, 5%. Look at here, look at there. And there are massive opportunities beyond what you're doing. But you look at countries like Israel, their water is like magic stuff. They are doing technology there that is multiple to you guys. So I acknowledge your stewardship. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I would love to get my hands around the process.
Well, we are also working on, you know, partnerships with other agencies on storage projects and, you know, making the system better overall. But just with like money, you know, like when you're managing money, you want to not put all your eggs in one basket, and diversifying our water supply portfolio will make us more resilient for the future. And we're hoping that, you know, yeah, it's 5% now, but we hope that it will be a much larger share. And we're also expecting the imported water share to likely go down as we keep experiencing climate change.
So what's the plan to increase the recycled water to like 30%? I mean, is there a timeline?
Good question. So for us, water recycling requires partnership. We don't own that wastewater. That's, you know, we have 4 wastewater treatment plants in the county. The largest one is the San Jose Santa Clara Regional Wastewater Facility down in El Viso. Then there's the Sunnyvale, the Palo Alto, and the South County facilities. So in order for us to purify water to the point where we can drink it, we need partnerships with the wastewater agencies. And wastewater agencies have a different, you know, jurisdiction. They're doing different things, and so we need to work with them, and everyone needs to be comfortable about the roles and responsibilities. Of course, they're worried like, whoa, if something happens, you know, you will blame us, and we have to be like, no, our technology is so awesome that.
So it's all political.
A lot of it is political and partnership, and then there's the other aspect of it. As people are doing an awesome job conserving, actually wastewater flows have been going down, and it's not going to be a closed loop system. The system that Brandon described is about 80% efficient. So you put 100 gallons in, you get 80 gallons of clean water, 20 gallons is, you know, has all the stuff in it that you don't want, and it has to go back to the wastewater treatment plant. So like even if we recycled everything, we would still need inputs, either local water or imported water. And it's also very expensive. The Palo Alto project we're working on, $1.2 billion. So, you know, we want to make sure that we optimize how much we recycle to what we actually need to do, and make sure that we have a portfolio that balances some of these more expensive waters with more affordable ones to keep our water rates affordable. That would be mine.
Saving it and all that kind of, the larger
Oh, in California.
Kind of antiquated some of our processes with that. The governor,
Well,
yell at.
well, it's actually,
On you, I know you guys focus on what you're doing. But
okay.
we're supposed to look at the bigger picture, and then you guys are kind of stuck going, how do we make 5%? And we, what do we do with this 5%? But like, somebody else is supposed to be looking at the bigger picture.
It's a hodgepodge. So we get, the imported water we get, part of it is from the state. So then that's the governor and, the agencies of the state. And then part of it also is the federal government, the Bureau of Reclamation, providing water. So we have contracts with both. And then in terms of water supply planning for the county, that's actually my team also. So what we do is we work with all our retailers. We look at past water use, demand projections into the future by looking at, what is the likely growth in all the cities that we serve. And then climate change modeling and hydrologic modeling to figure out, well, how will our supply decrease? And then we try to fill that gap, right? So we look at, in 2050, our demand could stay flat because we're doing a great job conserving, or it could go up a lot because, climate change is so bad and people are still watering their front lawns, right? So we have a range of demands, and then we have a range of supplies, and then we try to recommend projects that we're already mostly involved in, but like at the planning level, but like which ones should we then invest in to make sure our water supply is reliable. And that's a water supply master planning process, and we do that every 5 years. And that guides the board's investment decisions in water supply projects. It does. And conservation, everything. Yeah?
One more comment. We're looking at fixing Anderson Dam, which is now $2.5 billion, and then they're looking at adding another $2.5 billion in a new reservoir. Seems like if they put all the money in your resources, we wouldn't need either one of those.
Unfortunately, so when we look at what I just described, that math of like, how much do we need, how much do we have now, and that does assume Anderson being fully restored and all the other dams as well. There's still a gap in the future, especially if you think about a 6-year drought. And these gaps and shortages are so large that we couldn't conserve or recycle our way out of them. We do need some other investments. Because what will happen with climate change is rain will still be there, and it will actually, might have wetter years, but it might not fall as snow, so then we need more storage. So what we're finding in our analysis is that a combination of drought-proof supply, like potable reuse, and more storage to then capture rain when it does rain is going to be the most sustainable. And then with storage, looking at multiple options is a good idea, because when we do it in partnership with other agencies, including the state and federal government, what is most important to us is not the total amount of storage, but how much can we put during a wet year, and then how much can we pull out during a drought. And those contracts, that's also politics and negotiation. So we have to make some assumptions about, which projects are going to be the best for us, and then the board has to decide and balance that with, affordable rates.
You could have desalination plants and recycling, and then that would take care of the storage issue, and then the desalination plants can produce what you need to supplement the recycling.
You could. Definitely desalination is part of the water supply planning as well. It's very difficult, most likely, in our area because we are in a very sensitive environment and drawing a lot of salt water, and it will actually take more energy. So the wastewater we use the cleaned wastewater is cleaner than what we would be pulling out of the bay. So we would have to expend more energy to clean the water from the bay than we would the wastewater. So that's why we're focusing on the wastewater part, because it's already almost clean. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, those are the types of things that our board will have to look at and balance, and we're just providing the analysis to see how different projects can help us address future shortage. Yeah, I mean, not down, I don't think, but yeah, I mean, that is something that has to be incorporated in the long-range planning, what we're gonna do in it. So the first cut is which things fill shortage so that we know we have enough water come 2050. Second part of the analysis, how much is that gonna cost? And can other projects do the same thing that might be cheaper? And then, yeah, then our board would decide.
Could you put that in perspective? She asked about the water. It's my understanding that Santa Clara Valley Water District charges rates for water that are appreciably lower than many, many counties. In California, we are getting bargain.
That is true, and what we do charge is wholesale rates. So we have 13 water retailers, as Brandon described, and then, you know, they use our wholesale rate to set their rates. And yeah, I mean, our rates are very competitive, and with climate change, nobody's rates will be going down, because everyone will have to be looking at how to serve their customers. Did you want to add anything, Director Sanchez? Okay. We can send it out.
Many of your questions were right on the money, and they usually can't talk about politics, so I can. When you ask questions about the dams, and I'm just going to give you my opinion, 80 years old, been in government for 55. I was a firefighter for 33 years, so I know how to use water wisely. The Romans invented storage and aqueducts way before I was alive, so Ty knows what I'm talking about. What's the biggest issue in California? You don't have enough dams. You don't. And all we did is in Pacheco, if it was working right now that we inherited, the Pajaro wouldn't have flooded. So when you do dams, you're protecting. Before your time in 1777, this was a river. And the Indians lived up here looking down at the water. So, but what you do today, cities give all the permits, you build all these houses and you put all the pavement, and where's the water go? Out to the bay, 120 million gallons a day. Why? Let's recapture it. So I can be here all day, but I'm not, because Linda and you folks gotta go home. We'll educate you anytime if you wanna know the scientific things and the real facts. I love what I do, and I know what I'm talking about. And I have experts here. I drank the water in Orange County. You couldn't tell me the difference. Let me tell you something. If you don't have water, you drink it right out of the creek. The day we don't have water, this country will be in a chaotic situation. I hope it never happens. As I tell everybody, I got mine. I want your great-grandchildren to have water. Yes, sir.
Richard, I think you should preface this presentation by running Dune so we will watch the water rapids.
I can tell you this, there's so much more to say, but here's the bottom line. In the 1700s and the 1840s, there were 10 and 20-year droughts in California. This is a desert. And people lost their lives, their farms, and everything else. So the Stanford scientific papers tell you there's going to be more than 10 and 20-year droughts. The NASA papers says the same thing. Now, I don't say these things to scare anybody. We're up for the challenges, and that plant and those dams make a difference. When your governor only gives you $100 million for recycling, there's a problem. And why we have a $68 billion deficit. What's the priority? Again, I got mine, but your grandkids don't. This water we can drink right now. To answer your question, ma'am, when you drink that bottled water, our tap water has more restrictions than that bottled water, yet you don't say a word. I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just telling you the facts. The restrictions, and Ty is right. I just met a mayor the other day and he was saying, the cost and everything, and I said, why don't you just tell the truth? When you're elected, you gotta take the hits. But Ty is correct. You have the least expensive water and the best water in California right in this county. It's the truth. That's just fact. But we can do better. We could prevent floods, we could protect the environment, and I gotta fight every single day to try to get these dams. Gotta remember, when the earthquakes come, Anderson was built in 1 year, now it takes 10 years because the governor vetoed call AB 3005 that said, let's speed it up. Why not do it? So you have assembly people and you have your senators. Tell them we need more money for recycling. And with that, be safe. Thank you.
That was great. Our young lady wants to pass out a bag, but I'm asking her to wait a second, so she's got a bag for everyone. But the city council representative wanted to say something, right? And then the mayor, Stephen, did you want to have something to say? Oh, well, that's good. Yeah.
All right, so I have some quick stuff. I know we're trying to get out of here by 8:30, so I'll be as brief as possible here. I'm sure many of you have already seen Mercado and Brazzoni Park, after 20 years worth of being dirt lots, they're finally going to become parks. We've spent a significant portion of the last couple of years fighting for a lot of the things that the city's promised this area in the past, and trying to get those things rolling. We're also looking at Alum Rock Park over the next couple of weeks, getting with the Army Corps of Engineers, PRNS, DOT, and all of the other acronyms that no one cares about, to make sure that that road is safe for us to be able to drive on, and we want to open that park. Right now, our best case scenario is the end of January, and our worst case scenario is middle of February. Obviously, because of the rains last year, a lot of the erosion made that road a little unsafe for people, so we want to make sure that we can have a decent amount of traffic going through that road before we open it up to the general public. We also are going to be piloting a few poop bag locations at the parks here in District 4 for people who don't like to pick up after their animals. We're going to give them the opportunity to do so and do the right thing for their neighbors so that they're not stepping on dog poop everywhere. We are also going to be adding a bottle filler and some fountains over to Commodore Park because that fountain is notoriously broken just all the time. And the reason is the weirdest reason you can imagine, which is kids love to throw sand into the fountain. And so we're also going to solve that problem by adding some substrate that's not sand so that people don't feel the urge to grab handfuls of sand and chuck it into our water fountain. This is why we can't have nice things. So we're going to try to save people from themselves by not giving them the option to throw sand in there. We would also love to thank the army of volunteers that helped us with the Berryessa Community Center over the last couple of months. We've had plenty of people who have been out here helping to beautify the community center itself, picking up the multiple tons worth of pine needles that have accumulated around. We're also going to be building an ADA ramp as well down by this parking lot over here. So especially for the art festival, people can actually get to the art festival without having to go all the way around the community center to do it, which seems insane to me, but we're getting that solved, so that's good. Also, we had a fairly large termite problem here at the community center, and that has also been solved. So anyone who didn't see the giant tent that went up for a little bit, that was fun. Also, to address your point about the cameras are also something that we've been working with a couple of other neighborhood associations on, so let us know if you want to do the camera system. Reach out to our office, and we can definitely get that ball rolling for you and then attach you or connect you with the folks over at SJPD who can help to use those cameras to increase public safety. Also, I don't know if, Sharon, you're going to love this one. So we had a huge clearing out of the creek at Penitencia down by Cape Horn and Commodore today. That's been kind of ongoing. We started abating it as of today, so that area is significantly cleaner than it's been in a long time. Not only to protect the residents, but to also protect our waterways as well. We want to make sure that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot by making sure that we clear off any possible contaminants that might be coming down the river that way. So that's helping as well.
For anyone who would love to join us on January 19th, we also have our District Heroes event that's actually happening right here. It's going to be catered by the folks from Pho San Jose, which is a local company right down the street from here. And they'll be giving us, a fun meal, local group as well. To answer your question, by the way, on the homelessness issue, obviously that's like everyone will tell you, it's a very complicated problem, but I don't love that answer. I'm a golfer and I have been for a long time, and the thing I like to tell people about the golf swing is it's as complicated as you want it to be. And so I think that the challenges with homelessness are also like that to some extent. And sure, there is a different set of challenges that we have to address when it comes to homelessness, but there are two overriding principles. Number one is if we plan on getting them off the streets, we have to give them a place to go until we can transition them into supportive housing or more permanent housing, which is part of the reason why, in conjunction with the mayor's office, we've been working to get the safe RV parking site open so that we can get people off the streets into the sites and transition them to stay off the street permanently. Because our goal, at least in our office, is to make sure that if we're going to get people off the streets, we want them to stay off the streets. As for your specific question about making sure that we address issues of blight along our city streets, we've been working pretty closely with our abatement teams, with Beautify San Jose, and with SJPD in order to address people who have cars that are just parked randomly along the sides of the streets. We're starting to really push those enforcement mechanisms, especially in District 4. And also for the blight issues, we're getting the Beautify team to work with us on holding true to their promise of making sure that they address blight issues within 24 to 48 hours. So if you report something via 311 or you report something to the city and they don't take care of it within 2 days, let us know and we will push them to do it. So that's something that, if that helps to address the problem, and I know it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole, but it's kind of like the sideshow issue. The more we enforce it, the less it happens over time. So you may not see a sudden and dramatic change overnight, but you will see it get less and less and less and less. And over a long enough period of time, especially, like the Commodore and Cape Horn situation is a good example of that. The problem will not fix itself overnight, but what our goal is to see improvement every single day. And if we can see improvement every day and we can show you that improvement, then we can get more support towards pushing towards a solution that keeps people permanently off the street. So also, anyone who wants to go to that gala or who wants to reach out to our office, the website is sanjosedistrict4.com. Go there when we have the invite to the gala, as well as ways to contact us about specific issues. So if anybody has any questions, other than that, I will try to push you out of here. Yeah. Sure.
So the answer you said was, until we get past this to go, we can't tell them to leave. So where is everybody gonna go? We have like the most homeless in any other state.
So
Nobody wants to go to the shelters.
well, in District 4, so here's the answer. There are a couple of different versions of the answer. The first version is this: if you look at the shelters for what they are, there's some shelters, for example, that are commingled shelters that don't take into account things like domestic violence, and so part of the challenge of addressing homelessness is people wanting the services. And so for a person who's experienced domestic violence, they don't want to go to a commingled shelter, for example. That's just one of many different versions of that example. Number two, as for where people are going, the biggest problem we actually have in District 4 is people who live in RVs. And street parking and street homelessness is mostly centered around vehicles. So that's why we're pushing so hard to get that safe RV parking site open sooner rather than later. I don't know if you guys have seen that in the news, but part of the issue was hearing city staff tell us that a site was going to take over a year in order to open up. On top of that, the price tag was so exponentially high that we kind of took a second and said, nothing should be that expensive, A, and B, nothing should take that long. So in conjunction, again, with the mayor's office, we went back to city staff and said, okay, give us I don't care about, put a porta potty in there, make sure the ground's level and put some concrete down, and then move the RVs off the street. And then once they're there, once they're all in one place, we can triage the problems, we can make sure their vehicles are operable, or we can get them into supportive housing, whatever it is. But until they're off the street, you can't solve the problem. So let's break it down to basics. And that's part of what the mayor's office and our office has been doing, which is you can have 100 different reasons why someone can't be on a site like the safe parking site. But here's my contention. The worst version of a safe parking site is still better than the best version of being on the street. So let's get that done quickly and let's move them into that site. Yes.
Every night, whether you're walking or on your bike over there, it just makes it a lot safer. Unfortunately, we're right around the corner, but hopefully we'll stay off.
Yeah, we know where they are. I actually know the name of the guys. So that's the funny thing about dealing with this issue is that what our office is focused on is making sure that you see progress over time. Like every single day, you're going to see it get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And hopefully, if we keep pushing hard enough and fast enough, in the long term, at some point 2 years from now, you'll wake up and say, hey, wait a minute, we used to have a big problem, and now it's a minor problem or not really a problem at all. And that's kind of the goal that we're trying to get to, with trying to get these solutions, not just to happen, but to happen a heck of a lot faster. Because one thing that for lack of a better way of saying it, I have a lot of friends in the military, and there's peacetime thinking and there's wartime thinking. And a lot of the urgency that comes from dealing with triage and dealing with emergencies is not something cities are inherently that good at. They're good at doing peacetime work. It takes time, takes money, they have a long bureaucratic process that's in a lot of cases inherently unnecessary, especially if you're dealing with an emergency. And I don't know about you guys, but I do think homelessness is an emergency. So we should treat it with that level of urgency, that level of honesty about who we're actually trying to solve or who we're trying to help and why, and start getting to the process of not letting perfect be the enemy of good, and do things faster so that we can help solve the problem over time and not just all at once. So, yeah. Anybody else have any other questions? Yes. Sorry. That's a good question. I will take a look at that. I'll talk to CHP. That's a CHP issue, but we definitely can talk to them about that to me. Which sign is it? Is it the off-ramp? Okay. I'll drive by it after this. I'll take a look and then I'll report it to those guys. Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Just here for the view.
Okay, that's great. Couple of real quick announcements. Our next general membership meeting is on February 12th here, and it will be the City Council Forum. It's not a debate, it's a forum, so both candidates, that we only know there's 2 so far, unless something happens. So that will happen on February 12th. The March general membership meeting will be Citizen of the Year and our ethnic celebration. So we have 2 important meetings in the next 2 months. And the BCAC board meeting will be this Monday at my house, since the district office is closed. So, and then we have Our Lady that wants to pass out some bags for you. We have cookies, hot chocolate, and coffee, and you have a minute or 2 to get down there, but be sure to get a bag before you leave. And I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for coming tonight.